I let it sit for a year, and I find stuff like that. Oh, gross. Alright, so the other day on Facebook a memory popped up that I had put the engine in that car back there, my AE86 hatchback project that I picked up a year and a half ago or so, even longer, and I really haven't really done a whole lot with it. So like the last year, sure, I've done a few things, you know. Like I said, I stuffed the engine in it about a year ago, but I installed the new recorder glass. I put most of the interior kind of in place, but other than that, I really haven't done a whole lot with it. So I decided to pull the cover completely off of it today, take a look at it, and maybe do some work. So I don't know. Let's take a look. Dun da da! My beautiful beams with 4AG ITBs. I was going to wait on an engine and wiring harness and an ECU from Panic Made before I really tried to get it running. However, I decided that I think I'd rather drive it in the meantime. So I'm going to swap the ITBs back to a factory intake and kind of get a basic wiring harness done with just basic powers and grounds set up so I can drive it. But yeah, I'm not going to do that today. Oh, what is that? I've got some turds in here. Some rat turds or squirrel turds or something. And if they're in the engine bay, oh no. Oh, right, I already unlocked that. What else am I gonna find in here? That I let it sit for a year, and I find stuff like that. Oh, gross. I guess I've got some work ahead of me. I might need to clean out the car and find some rodent nests. A lot of newer wiring harnesses use like a soy-based insulation. This, having all the old harnesses, it shouldn't have that, so I don't think I'll have rodent damage to the harness, but I only have an underdash harness in it. No, I take that back. I ran the body harness too, and then in that tub back there I have a couple more harnesses. The good news is I don't hear any scurrying. The bad news is I don't know where this is. It's such a mess, I'm not sure if I'm gonna find them. All right, I don't feel like finding the rodents right now, so we'll get to work on the car. I think what I want to do today is I want to get the headlights mocked up, and I'm gonna get the headlight brackets mounted to the car with some rivets, well, first some Clecos and then some rivets to kind of hold the headlights in place and have a placeholder for those. You know, this car is a pop-up front end originally, right? All USDM cars originally had pop-up headlights, so I'm doing the conversion to Levin. Now, one of the challenges I'm gonna have is that I have a fiberglass hood, fiberglass fenders, fiberglass bumper, so it's gonna be difficult to get everything to line up correctly, so that's why I'm just gonna like temporarily mount the headlights using rivets and Clecos. And then once I kind of get all the other body fitment stuff kind of dialed in so it fits all nice, then I'll actually weld the brackets in place. So Levin Headlights, you have to have fenders to mount them to the car because on this side you've got these two studs that mount to these two holes in the fenders on both sides. And then the next piece you need is this bracket, this one and this one. They're different for each side. They've got a different shape and different contour, which you can see like this one has this, here. This one has like this wavy bit here, and it fits around some of the stuff back here, some of the contours and the sheet metal. And the same thing on this side, it's got some contours to it, which then fit in like this groove right here. So, you know, there's a general placement. There's a little room for getting it to fit just right. So we'll go ahead and get these things, get the nuts on each side. And then what I'm going to use is some clamps to clamp the bracket in place on the body, and then kind of adjust from there. I got lucky when I bought the interior for this car. It also came with these headlights, which are brand new Levin headlights with the discontinued eyelids, as well as brand new fog lights, which are also discontinued. And then it also came with the brackets. Now, I didn't show it, but these brackets actually bolt onto the headlights. You got 2 bolts, boop, boop. So they're separate, and I already bolted them together last time, and then so I've got it placed pretty high up in there with that clamp placed down there. You know, general idea of where I think it should go. Now we're going to go ahead and close the hood and see what it looks like kind of lined up here. Because it seems like it's not high enough over here. I don't have a grill either, so that makes it difficult too. That is pretty high up there. I might have to go even higher with it. That's better, but still not perfect. I think that'll be okay for now. It's pretty close. And then once I get the fender to hood, you know, that fitment sorted out, the fender to body, bumper to fender, all that fitment, I should be able to kind of get it dialed in. Now I'm going to do this headlight first, and then I'll go over and do the other headlight. All right, now that we've got the headlight bracket for the right side kind of in place, we're going to drill some holes to put some Clecos in. If you've never used a Cleco, that's what this guy is, right? The little gold thing. It works kind of like a rivet. You drill a hole and then you use your Cleco tool to put it in, and then you release it, it expands out and it grabs. So it works sort of like a rivet, or like, you know, like a plastic clips that normally people like holds on trim and stuff. So these are really great fabrication tools because you can drill a hole, put this in, much smaller than a bolt hole or something, can easily be welded up and get things kind of fit in place. And then you can also adjust a little bit, drill, you know, another hole or something like that you can easily plug up. So we're gonna go ahead and drill a hole and get some Clecos in. All right. Now we can pop our Cleco through just like that. That's going to hold our panel. And now the tricky one is going to be this upper one here. I guess what we could do here is take the headlight off. Okay, so now we have that out of the way. That's better. Now let's grab a Cleco and put this guy in place. Just like that. All right, here you can see we got one Cleco down here, one Cleco up there, and look, there's the sticker. So if you want the part number for that bracket, that's one of them. So that one's held in place now. We can either rivet or leave it, and I think that I want to rivet it. So we'll rivet that in place. So it'll temporarily have the headlight where it should be, ish. Rivets are great because they're only made of aluminum. They're easy to drill out in case it's in the wrong spot or whatever. They're really easy to correct. Now let's do the bottom one. Now we can go ahead and put the headlight back on, see how it lines up. So fitment isn't perfect, but we also know the hood has to come up on that corner. This corner here, it needs to go up. And the whole hood needs to be shifted a little bit, and the fenders need to be adjusted. So there's still some fitment to happen. But if we look at the bumper, the headlight to the bumper fitment is pretty much flat, which is great. So now we have this one temporarily mounted up. We're gonna go ahead and get the driver's side fitted and temporarily mounted up the same way with rivets. Clecos, rivets, and then you know, we can also pop the corner lights on, at least hold them in place to see how it all looks. Wow, that side fits a lot better. All right. I know why this side fits better. It's because on the other side there's some body damage, and the frame rail's actually tweaked a little bit, so we might not get that headlight to line up just right without some frame pulling. But this side lines up way better. Just like that, we got both headlights on. That looks pretty all right to me. So let's grab the corner lights. These are also brand spanking new. So I guess kind of a funny thing, I am missing the screws and the little square plastic clips the screws go into to hold these in. So I think one of the only places that sells those brand new is Flo's. So, hey Flo's in Ireland, if you're watching this, you should hook me up with some. On the other side, I just put a bunch of zip ties through because this is just all temporary. I just want to see how it all lines up together. So now we'll do the same on this side. You know, for zip ties and rivets, that looks pretty dang good, I'm thinking. Yeah, it's not perfect, but we'll get there. I mean, look at how straight that side is. Look at that. That's very straight. Still a little bit, not quite perfect, but still pretty good. And this side is just a little wonky because, you know, the hood fits a little funny on this side. And this is also the side that was hit. If you haven't watched my other videos on this car, just a short little background on it. I bought it from a friend who bought it from a friend who ran a junkyard and saved it from being crushed even though it was just a shell. So kind of like it went through a couple of things. When I went to the junkyard, obviously got a salvage title now, and there's a reason why it has a salvage title. Not only because it went to the junkyard, but also because of that. So that's the frame rail buckled right there, and if you see, if you look, that's the that's one of the subframe bolts. It's not seated all the way because it's just bent just enough that I can't get it through the subframe. So this is a different subframe too. It's not the one, at least I don't think it's the one from the car. So that's a little bit of a dilemma. You know, the frame there is bent, and I'm also going to have to do something about the tension rod mount here because it's caved in a little bit down here. I don't know, you can't really see it now, but it's caved in a little bit. So, well, there you go. Temporarily mounting my Levin headlights Next time I get this into the garage, hopefully I'll weld up some stuff, because I need to not only weld those brackets on, but I'll do that once I get the body all adjusted. I also need to weld up a couple of the mounts for the driver's seat. Common thing, the mounting nuts blow out and one of the brackets breaks, so I've got to fix those. And I've got a few other things, like this car used to have a roll bar in it, so I'm welding up those holes. It had a battery box that was riveted in the back, and there's like 800 different rivet holes. I've got to weld those up, so still got some work to do. But you know, the goal is now is to get this thing running on the stock ECU. And then whenever my order comes up from Panic, I'll have a harness made as well as a link ECU. I'm planning on doing a few things like using a BMW motor for the ITBs to control that. So I can have drive-by-wire, which means I can have cruise control, because this car is going to be a street car. I also have some air conditioning work to do. I have almost all the components, so I got to get some of that. And then I have a big order coming from a few different online vendors for, you know, ball joints, tie rod ends, all that stuff. So yeah, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Follow along. I'm going to keep working on my Levin resto mod here.